both of us think the 49ers need to consider reducing Elijah Mitchell's workload. I asked the offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, I was like, look, I understand you're 3-4. You need all the wins you can get. The more you give the ball to Elijah Mitchell, the more likely you are to win. But he's got a rib injury. It's a long season. What is it hard to find the balance? And him with Debo, it's basically saying, look, I don't know. You talk about balance. We got to win games, and that means giving the ball to our best players. So there's no coincidence that he's getting like 18 carries a game. That's how freaking good they think he is. And if you look at it, Terrell Davis, back when he was a rookie in 95, had a very similar start to his career. Mike Shanahan made him the starter right away, and they started feeding him big time. And he was pick 196. Mitchell's 194. That's my way of saying I think that's why they're giving him so many carries. They see real special talent in him. That being said, they got to be careful.
Have to be careful. My argument stems from the idea that the 49ers, you could certainly make a powerful argument, ran Raheem Mostert into the ground. I think it seemed clear to you, to me, to most 49ers fans that he was the type of back that would benefit from fewer carries in the game. And I know that his ego wanted to be the quote unquote starting back, and he wanted the contract that reflected being the starting back. And the 49ers may have made the wrong call in allowing him to push for that and putting him as the lead back. Had they managed his carries to 10 carries a game, it's fair to ask a question. Would he still be healthy at this point?
You're probably right. I think, I think a couple things with Mostert. One, I think he had a knee thing for a while. Right. I think what we're starting to learn is that he's been managing a messed up knee for a long time. And remember, he didn't really become a key cog in a committee until he was like 28, 29, 30. And he probably had a messed up knee that, like for example, in 2019, they would not give him a start. And you're like, what is going on? Why are they playing Tevin Coleman? Well, he had a knee thing that they were managing, and they knew it. Mitchell is a draft pick who's young, who doesn't have this knee thing, and they really, really like him. And again, this running back coach is the same guy who coached Terrell Davis. So there is precedent in, you were a 6th-round pick? Who cares? You're starting week 1. You're getting 250 carries. You're going to the Pro Bowl. You're going to the Hall of Fame. Like, they don't care where they drafted you. I'm not saying this guy's a Hall of Famer, but they really like him. And I asked Shanahan, Garoppolo, and McDaniel about this guy this week, and all of them spoke about him like he was Terrell Davis. I mean, Kyle called him an extreme pro. McDaniel said he just constantly is finding the right hole, and he's getting more and more decisive. I mean, also he said that Trent Williams said that he got hit in the back by Elijah Mitchell running through the hole. Hardest he's gotten hit by a running back since Adrian Peterson. I mean, this guy's getting rave reviews. That's why I was like, wait a second. I just want to compare it to Terrell Davis' start. It's actually better. Terrell Davis averaged 4.7 yards per carry as a rookie. This guy's averaging 5.3. This guy's on a tear. And if he can keep this up, it's hard to say how good the Niners could be. I mean, to me, the reason the Broncos won Super Bowls in the 90s was Terrell Davis. Right. I mean, of course, John Elway was important, but he was there a long time not winning Super Bowls. Once you added Terrell Davis to that formula, they were unstoppable. The Niners don't have John Elway, but they just might have Terrell Davis. And they might have John Elway, too. I think Trey Lance is pretty good.
He's pretty good. He certainly is. And, you know, what becomes clear to me is that the 49ers offense, the Shanahan offense, does not function at the same level without someone who can effectively run that zone scheme, like the outside zone runs. Once they lost Mostert, it was clear that the offense fell off a cliff until they discovered they had Elijah Mitchell, and he could effectively run it.
He plays on the perimeter from the running back, and Sermon doesn't give it to him. This guy does.
My question becomes, these players, it's a unicorn type of a player that can hit the holes that happen within this zone scheme, right? You have to have a certain level of speed, you have to have a certain level of vision, and typically when those things are combined, you're looking at a lighter frame.
Decisiveness too.
They
always talk about that. Like, you don't want like the guy who's kind of like breaking down and not. Mostert was always, he would see it. It was like, wow, gone.
Yeah. But you wonder if that quickness comes at an expense at players that have a few less pounds on their frame and therefore are more susceptible to these big hits. Is it something where you can have that type of runner, Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert, and give them 18 to 20 carries a game and make it through a season? Because I get the idea that the NFL, the running back position has become a disposable asset. It's something that you can replace on a regular basis, but you can't replace it mid-season. So I get if the 49ers say, well, we're not worried about next year. We're going to see if Elijah Mitchell can have a phenomenal season in 2021. But my point being, you've got to keep him healthy through 17 games.
Right. And remember, like, Mostert got hurt because he had a messed up knee. And he didn't get hurt from like the contact. I think there's a difference between running or outside the tackles and running between the tackles. Uh,
Yes.
The type of hits you're taking, the people who are hitting you are smaller.
Yep.
You're getting hit by safeties and linebackers and corners as opposed to between the tackles. So I think what they can do with Mitchell is less between the tackle runs. That's what Jeff Wilson Jr. can come in and do. He can do more of that. I mean, of course, you don't want it to be telegraphed. We're going outside the tackles every time Mitchell's in, but mostly you want to run on the perimeter. That's what your offense is built around, pitching the ball left and right, outside zone. That's what you want to do with all your best blockers are on the perimeter. Tackles, tight ends, your fullback, your two guards and center can't block anyone. They can't push anyone at the point of attack. So yeah, you want Mitchell as much as possible outside.
For me, I looked back at what has Shanahan had success with in the past with rushing games. And to me, it strikes me as when he's balanced between carries that it's been better with the San Francisco 49ers. Admittedly, I didn't go back all the way to his father's days with Denver. But in 2019, where obviously the rushing game was wildly successful, it was almost an even split between the three-headed monster. You had Mostert with 137 carries, 5.6 yard average, Coleman with 137, only a 4-yard average, but the same number of carries as Mostert, and Breida with 123 at about 5 yards carry. Right now in 2021, you're looking at Elijah Mitchell 3-1 over the next back. He's got 81 carries, and that's with missing a game. Trey Sermon only has 31, and that's, again, taking over a game that Elijah was completely out, and those carries would have otherwise, you would think, gone to Eli.
I do think Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to get some, but he hasn't played in a really long time. I mean, look, the Niners aren't good enough to choose how to win games. They have to get every win, and if they lose to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals don't have Kyler Murray, it'll be scandalous. So the Niners just have to win. And, the last time they played the Cardinals, they inexplicably gave Elijah Mitchell 9 carries. In retrospect, man, maybe if Trey Lance had Elijah Mitchell and a full workload of him, they could have put up more than 10 points. I mean, you really owe it to your entire franchise to give him at least 13 carries. So it's like it's a tough one because imagine losing another game where he only gets 9. I mean, it would be really, and that can't happen. Can't happen. So it's a difficult balance.
You bring up a great point there to end on, which is that they may have lost the luxury to decide on fewer than 18 carries. They are at the point where every single game matters. You lose one more, it could be the end of the season.
So, I mean, that's why you got Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. Like Deebo, they said is more injured now than he was last week. And he's going to try to gut it out because
still got to play.
They need him. If he doesn't play against the Cardinals, I don't know if they're going to beat the Cardinals. And same with Elijah Mitchell. Last year when the Niners didn't have, when they would have games that didn't have Deebo or Mostert. Hard to win. Hard to win no matter who your quarterback is. Really. So Terrell Davis in the backfield, but he's got a mess up rib. Take care of it, but also give him 18 carries. Sorry, not my problem.
He seems to have a high tolerance for pain, so that's good.
All right, we're going to do the path to playoffs in a second. We're going to get some questions first.
Let's do it.
Kyle has no experience in failing as a head coach with the pressure on him. He joined with no high expectations for the team, and now it's built up and all on him.
It's
interesting.
interesting.
Have high expectations.
They didn't have high.
Though. Season isn't over yet. Let's not write him off yet. We can write him off next month. Miguel says Niners need OBJ to help out Deebo because G Kittle is unreliable and Niners have no first-round picks the next 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners find a way to do this. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they absolutely submit a claim because it sounds like the terms I don't think have come out, but it sounds as if they renegotiated OBJ's contract to make it more palatable both for the Browns, but also for whomever might claim him on waivers to reduce the $8 million owed the rest of this season. It'll be interesting to see. I think a lot of teams will put in claims.
Yep. Ethan says Elijah Mitchell is only 46 yards behind Najee, who leads rookie running backs. I think the rookie of the year is going to come down to Elijah Mitchell and Mac Jones.
Ooh. Hope for 49ers fans' sanity's sake that it's Elijah and not Mac Jones, because that will start an enormous Twitter feud.